All right, lesson 28, fractional parts of numbers and functional notation. All right, so if you just write down 7/8 times 48 equals 42, some terminology, okay? This multiply sign, right? This little time sign means of, okay? 7/8 of 48, okay? And another word for equals is the word is. Okay, so you definitely want to know. Of means multiply, is means equal. All right, and then it'll be written exactly in the order. I wouldn't even write this down, all right, but I would write this down, okay? And it's going to be written in the order you want to write it with math, okay? So this says 4/3 of what number is 64? Okay, it's exactly in order of how we're going to write a math equation. So I'm going to rewrite 4/3. Whoops. And then everyone, what am I going to write for of? Yes, multiply. And I don't like X, use a dot, or you can just put it right next to the variable too, okay? I don't know, I had an X in the last slide though. All right, and then it says what number. Okay, when you see what number, that means a variable. We're all going to use N, okay, for what number. Use capital N. Okay, and then we have the word is. What are we going to write for is? Equals. And then we write 64. Then you solve the problem. All right, so that's all you have to do is transpose that lovely sentence into a math equation. All right, 4/3 of what number is 64? Now we solve it by multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3/4. Okay, this way it all cancels here. I get my n by itself. For 4 into 64, you guys, you want to do 4 goes into 6. How many times? 1. And then you subtract the 4 in your head and you put a little 2 here because 6 minus 4 is 2. So now you're doing 4 into 24. How many times is 4 going to 24? All right. So it goes in 16 times. Now I'm going to do 16 times 3, which is 48. Okay. All right, 3 1/5 of what number is 48? So I'm going to rewrite 3 1/5. And then Ava, what should I always write down for the word of? Yep. And then I've got what number? And Kira, what should I write down for what number? Good. And then Sammy, what should I write down for is? Exactly. 48. All right, so 3 1/5 of what number is 48? All right, now I need to make this improper. So 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So I'm going to make it 16/5 n equals 48. All right, and then Aubrey, what should I do next? Aubrey Z for the next step. Good job. So I'm going to multiply by 5/16, and I'm going to multiply by 5/16. All right, cancel schmancel. And 16 actually goes into 48. How many times, you guys? 3. We just did that, okay, on the last one. And now do 3 times 5 is 15. All right, and a lot of times they'll give you a nice one where you want to try to divide or think of a multiple of 16 that goes into that, okay? All right. What fraction of 60 is 48? So they switched up the order, and now they're saying what fraction. All right, so when you see what fraction, we will use the variable f. It doesn't really matter, okay, but we'll just try to be consistent, okay? It's just a variable. What fraction, okay? And now I've got the word of. So Jeremiah, what should I write for of? Good. And then I've got 60. And then I've got is. So Eli V, what should I put for is? Yep. And then 48. So it goes exactly in the order that you write the math. All right. Follow the English the same. Now I just need to solve for f, like how you would solve for f either way. Milo, what should I do? Exactly. Okay, we're going to divide both sides by 60. These cancel, and I just get f equals. What do you guys think goes into 48 and 60? I think 12 does. How many times does 12 go into 48?
4.
How many times does 12 go into 60? Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so we get 4/5. All right, 4.5 of 220 is what number? Everybody try to write down the math equation, and then you see if you get it right. Okay, so hopefully you did. 4.5 of means multiply. 220 is means equal what number? Notice the variable is already by itself, so you're literally just doing the math on the left-hand side. I would make this improper first, so this would be 8 plus 1 is 9, so 9/2 times 220. I would divide the 2 into the 220 first, okay? It goes in 1, 1, 0, and then multiply by 9, and we get 990 for our number, okay? Wow, this is kind of long. Function notation. F of x equals x squared minus 3. Find f of -1. Definitely write this down. So write down this f of x. The way that you read this is not f times x, it's f of x, okay? Equals x squared minus 3. Find f of -1. You're going to plug the -1 in for x, okay? So I'm going to do this, f of -1. I plugged it in for this x here. And then you're going to plug it in for this x here, okay? -1 squared minus 3. Be sure you use parentheses when you do substitution. A couple people miss that on the test. Now, this f of -1 is just telling you what does this equal when you plug in -1. So -1 squared is +1, minus 3 is -2. Now, a lot of people try to like divide this -1 out and solve for f. Don't do that, all right? Just leave it. This is saying when I plug in -1, I get -2. All right, it's function notation. So it does not mean f times -1. Okay, it's f of -1 is -2. When I plug that in, I get that. All right, samesies right here. G of x equals x times x squared minus 3. Find g of 2. So what does this g function equal when I plug in 2? So I plug a 2 in for this x. I plug a 2 in for that x. Okay, parentheses first. This would be 4 minus 3. Okay, 4 minus 3 is 1. And then 2 times 1 is 2. So this is saying that g of 2 equals 2. When I plug in 2, I get 2. Do not divide by 2. All right, just leave that. G of 2 is g of 2. Okay, that's called function notation. Let's try it.